But a man that I can just pick my shots on all night. And the only way he will win is tagging me, he's in trouble. And it's because I've never really been out or really hit hard. And statistics show that my constant ripping all night cuts a man. My 210 and my snap. That steady hits a man. If you notice, Frazier's just a machine. He keeps coming. He don't think. He's like a robot. You wind him up, you wind up the little doll and let him go. He just keep coming. And everybody hit him, and he just keep coming. And I'm glad he's been built up as a giant. Because everybody I defeat, well, he had a sore shoulder, he had a sore back, or he was a bum, or he hadn't been tested, or he didn't get hit. I wanted to build him up real big, make him just a terror and a giant. And right after the fight, I'm going to break my neck, get into the newspaper stand to see what the excuse is the next morning. I'm just waiting to see what the excuse is going to be when I whoop Joe Frazier.
Although Ali is obviously looking ahead to his showdown with the champion, Joe Frazier, his next fight, as we said, will be against Oscar Bonavena on December 7th.
To the former royalty. Contracts were signed today for a heavyweight championship fight between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, a match at Madison Square Garden in New York on March 8th. The contracts guarantee Ali and Frazier $2.5 million each. Tickets, closed-circuit television, and other receipts are expected to make the match worth between $7 and $10 million, the richest event yet in sports. ABC's Ron Milligan was there.
The indomitable Muhammad Ali has very definitely come back. Ali burst onto the scene in full speech as he and official title holder Joe Frazier sat down for the sign-up. The polemics began.
If Joe Frazier whoops me, I'm getting on my hands and my knees. I crawl across the ring, look up to you, say you're the champion.
Well, I tell you what, you might not be able to crawl. But I tell you what I do.
I'm trying to get you on the spot if you think you're so good.
No good. Hold the spot.
You might you coward.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna crawl back. I'm gonna crawl back on 4 feet, and then I'm gonna tell and walk out of the ring and say you that. Now, when I whoop you,
the thing about it, see, you might not be able to crawl. So I gotta whoop you.
No,
you can't wait, man. You gotta put a man laying out. You don't see a man lay out.
Listen to me, boy. When you whoop me,
all your guys have to
when
get
I
out
whoop you, are you gonna crawl?
I'll crawl over that.
Right? He said he's gonna crawl.
Right? You're not gonna be able to move.
Okay, you want to eliminate yourself.
Ali clearly had shown he wants 2 titles. One, the heavyweight boxing crown. The other, the world championship in before-the-fight repartee. This is Ron Milligan, ABC News, New York.
The New York Times' Arthur Daly noted today that if the fight goes the full 15 rounds, each fighter will have earned $45,000 a minute, which is roughly in line with presidential guidelines on anti-inflation policy. Howard will be back with tonight's comment in
How long will ye break me in pieces with words?
Heavyweight champion Joe Frazier and deposed titleist Muhammad Ali, both undefeated, signed in New York today to fight in Madison Square Garden next March 8th. Each was guaranteed exactly $2.5 million, by far a record payoff to any athlete for a single sports event. So it's not surprising that both men immediately started drumming up publicity for the fight, each continuously interrupting the other with dire threats at the signing ceremonies, and conversationally, it looked like a draw. The Federal Trade Commission
to kill all the animals and all the people at My Lai. David?
The Pentagon issued a draft call for 17,000 men in February, the same as this month. Curtis Tarr, the draft director, said the lottery number reached in 1971 may be about the same as in 70, which is to say 195. Some time ago, he told the Congressional Committee that numerous colleges, including some of our most famous, fail or refuse to cooperate with local draft boards. Some refuse to answer any questions at all. In others, when a student leaves college, it simply refuses to tell his draft board. The Pentagon hopes to have an all-volunteer Army by 1973. Senator Stennis, the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, will have something to say about that, and he doesn't like the idea.
You've heard a lot about the so-called volunteer army. It's my considered judgment, and I've been considering this now nearly a year. Somebody just had a dream. Just had a dream. Without the draft, a significant element of our combat forces will become ineffective. I'm afraid that we're going to preach this no-draft army to the American people so much and so strong that it's going to get them in a mood and make it impossible to pass a meaningful Selective Service Act, which must be passed by July 1, 1971. I'm still open to any facts or any proof that may be brought along. But unless I drastically change my mind, I think it's my duty to be frank about it and make a fight to pass a meaningful Selective Service Act to run for at least 3 or 4 years and get this shooting over if we can, and then consideration can be given to a so-called volunteer army.
Raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Gilberto Perez,
do hereby acknowledge
do hereby acknowledge
you have voluntarily enlisted.
An all-volunteer army may be a long way away, but enlistments are up nationally, especially in recent years. In the Chicago area alone, the Army reported that during the first half of 1970, about a fourth of those taken into the Army were volunteers. But by the last 3 months of the year, volunteers made up more than half of them.
military justice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Much of this is attributed to the so-called new Army image found in many overseas bases and in a few stateside ones like Fort Carson. There's been a lot of publicity about it, doing away with reveille, with KP and inspections, and apparently this is luring recruits. It has to, because recruiting sergeants can't use this yet, because there's no assurance a recruit will wind up at such a base.
Not yet. I'll tell you where to go.
First of all, Melvin, I'd like to discuss a few of the benefits in the Army. Do you know about any of our benefits from the Army service?
No, the new Army practices are by no means universal. Already there are congressmen on armed services committees complaining about the Army turning into a country club. Yet the changes made have obviously paid off in enlistments, and recruiters expect this year to be even better. Fred Briggs, NBC News, Chicago.
Sam will pay you $175 a month while you're...
The Supreme Court ruled today that
and Gerald Smith of Chicago. As boxing fans know, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier tangle at Madison Square Garden on March 8th in their classic battle for the heavyweight championship. And as boxing fans, including ABC's Ron Milligan, also know, it's going to be the long-awaited moment of truth for the character once known as Cassius Clay.
If Joe Frazier whoops me, I'm getting on my hands and my knees.
Crawl across the ring.
Crawl across the ring, look up to you, say, you're the champion.
Well, I tell you what, I don't, you might not be
This was the scene a few weeks ago in a New York restaurant when Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier signed the contract for their fight. Ali is a showman. Ask him a question, point a camera at him, and he's on stage. He's the greatest put-on of all time. The only time he gets serious is in this dingy gym in a corner of Miami Beach. This is where he's trained for his last 2 fights, and it's where he's now training for Frazier. For the past 3 years, Ali has toured the nation's colleges. His last speech, before going into serious training, was at Patterson State College in New Jersey, and he went right into his put-on act again.
What's going to happen if you fight Joe Frazier? And this is all I get everywhere I go. So I wrote a poem. They moved me to write a poem on what would happen and the exact outcome of the Ali-Frazier fight. And here's how the fight would sound over your radio. Ding! Ali comes out to meet Frazier, but Frazier starts to retreat. If Frazier goes back an inch farther, he'll wind up in a ringside seat. Ali swings with the left. Ali swings with the right. Look at the kid carry the fight. Frazier keeps backing, but there's not enough room. It's a matter of time. There Ali lowers the boom. Now Ali lands to the right. What a beautiful swing. And the punch lifts Frazier clean out of the ring. Frazier's still rising, but the referee wears a frown, for he can't start counting till Frazier comes down. Now Frazier disappears from view. The crowd is getting frantic, but our radar stations have picked him up. He's somewhere over the Atlantic. Who would have thought when they came to the fight that they witnessed the launching of a colored satellite?
Ali loves the role he plays. Super champion, the coolest, the clown. But the Frazier fight will be the roughest of his career. And when the bell rings and Frazier comes roaring at him, it will be time to put up instead of put on. This is Ron Milligan, ABC News, reporting.
I'll be back.
Marijuana remains as illegal as ever. The big build-up continues for the March the 8th heavyweight title fight between Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. There's nothing new about Ali's pre-fight poetry, but now Frazier has some poetry of his own, set to the tune of that $2.5 million each fighter is guaranteed.
$2 million change. $2 million of change. I'm not worrying about him hitting me. I know I'm gonna get hit. What the heck? You know what I mean? I've been hit many times before. You know.
What kind of pressure you gonna put on?
The kind I'm gonna put on every time he breathes. He gonna breathe right down on me, 'cause I'll be in his nose hole. You know, the personal thing I don't know much about. You know what I mean? But just like seeing him every now and then around the town, you know, and watch him. You know, he like a lot of crowd. You know, and he like a lot of publicity work. You know, I like to do things quiet, like, you know what I mean? I like to do things my way. And now, the time is near, the time is here to check my hopes and prepare to take the dare. It's time to climb right through them ropes and to face a man who has a plan and states that plan, not in a shy way. Well, that's his right, but come to fight, I'll fight him my way. For what is a man? For what has he got? If not himself, not such a lot. He got to be one tempo steel. He got to stand, Lord, never kneel. The records show I took the blows and did it my way.
Harry will be back
to allow us to relax. The fight of the century, at least in fiscal terms, is now only a week and a weekend away, and Muhammad Ali is about ready to wind up his training in Miami Beach. It's been fun for everyone, as ABC's Charles Murphy reports.
The biggest tourist attraction of the season on Miami Beach is Muhammad Ali driving a replica 1901 Oldsmobile down Washington Street. He tools merrily along lines of tourists to the dingy 5th Street gym where he trains. There, his mood changes. Ali growls and grimaces as he punches an imaginary Joe Frazier. But this is a tourist attraction, too, and one of the most entertaining on the beach. Tourists throng the gym at $1 a head until the board flooring sags. Ali never misses an opportunity to amuse them.
All this talk about Joe Frazier. Well, I'm glad we can stop all the talking and all the writing and all the predicting. We can finally see now who is the champ and who is the tramp. Right.
With himself around, Ali does not need really a public relations man. He is one of the greatest.
The secret of Muhammad Ali, all right here. 5 minutes before I walk in the ring, and I will open this and reveal the exact outcome of what will happen to Joe Frazier.
Some reporter made the mistake of asking Ali if he boasted merely to reassure himself.
You're a newscaster, and I'm prettier than you, and you tell me nothing about Joe Frazier. I don't get hit. You just tell all of your fans and all of the Joe Frazier fans to be there at the theaters if they can't get there live, because I will have the prediction. I'll show you what I think about this new champion. You've been talking about how great Joe Frazier is. This is you all's talk about he's the champion, trying to brainwash the public. You don't brainwash Muhammad Ali. I am the brainwasher.
Whether he's trying to psych himself may be irrelevant. He has again out-psyched reporters. Now he doesn't have to answer 200 questions a day about who is going to win or when he's going to win. So Muhammad Ali, who is a great boxer and a great showman, is also a great psychologist, as is proved once more. Charles Murphy, ABC News, Miami Beach.
Howard K. Smith.
Heavyweight boxers Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali meet in New York's Madison Square Garden Monday night in what one promoter calls the biggest fight since Cain tangled with Abel. Others are content to call it the fight of the century. But in any case, as Hughes Rudd reports, it's most certainly boxing's biggest business deal ever.
In a curious way, the preparations for and merchandising of this fight overshadow the match itself. A tremendous non-event is shaping up with a life independent of the sweaty reality of Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali.
It's one ticket. It's $10.
This is showbiz, the big time, box office. Closed-circuit television will carry the fight to 360 cities in this country and Canada for as many as 1.5 million customers. And each of those customers will pay from $10 to $30 each. And it's a worldwide extravaganza, say the promoters. At least 25 foreign countries will show the fight on TV. Gross revenues may hit $20 or $30 million. Breathtaking Hollywood-sized prospects in the usually shabby world of boxing, and ultimately all due to one man who isn't a boxer at all. A Canadian millionaire named Jack Kent Cooke, who put up 4.5 of the $5 million the two boxers are guaranteed.
I would hope that Fight of the Champions, which is the name of the joint venture that I control, would take home perhaps 50 cents a seat, ranged against the 1.5 million seats that'll be sold in Canada and the United States.
MTS Fight Center. Thank you.
Cooke and his cohorts are not operating through the usual boxing channels. In most cases, they've made their deals with concert promoters, people more accustomed to booking the Grateful Dead and the Jefferson Airplane instead of Slapsy Schwartz or Stoker Thompson. The reason for that is Mr. Cooke's prime partner, Jerry Perenchio, a booking agent for musicians and movie stars who decided to bypass the old-time Liniment and Collodion boys.
Those that were not flexible didn't get the fight, and a number of those that were flexible did get the fight. And there are always those that are sad that they, at this point they're sad that they didn't meet the terms. But I'm, frankly, at this point, a little tired of all the talk about the money and everything else.
A lot of fight promoters are not tired of all this talk about money, mainly because they're not getting any of it. Eileen Eaton is a fight promoter in Los Angeles, but she's not promoting this fight.
They're demanding like 60 to 65% cash of a potential gate in advance before they will allow someone to have an outlet. And that means if someone is in the Midwest right now, or a little further east where they're completely closed in by snowstorms, and they've just got to lose everything they've got.
But even for those who signed with Perenchio, it's not all as simple as setting up a one-nighter for Glenn Campbell. These people are from an outfit called Concerts West, owned in part by Danny Kaye. Concerts West paid $1 million for the rights to show the fight in 8 western states and part of Canada. Tickets to the TV shows are selling, but prices are high and sales have not yet been as colossal as the promoters expected.
We've gone into some small communities like in Texas or smaller towns in Canada and smaller towns in various states, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Utah. They never heard of a $10, $12, $15 price. In some cases, we might just as well have hung up a smallpox sign. They just stayed away. But in the larger communities, it's going great.
Perenchio and partners say they can't lose any money at this point because they're already guaranteed the nut, as they say in showbiz, and that's apparently true. The only question is, how much profit will they make? The deals they made with the promoters put them over the top, and such goodies as a documentary for later theatrical release are still hanging, along with the boxers' trunks. Both pairs of short pants belong to the promoters, as do the boxing shoes. And Perenchio has said only half-jokingly that he's prepared to auction them off as souvenirs. Muhammad Ali usually makes a confident, rhymed prediction for free ahead of his bouts, but this time even that will cost the fans money.
Might go 1 round, might go 5, might go 6. I really can't say. Not here, but I know what's going to happen, and I will tell you 5 minutes before the fight over closed-circuit television.
In the old days, fight promoters didn't always rely simply on the gate receipts to make a profit. Some of them sometimes fixed a fight in advance to make dead certain they didn't come out on the short end. But today's promoters are a different breed, of course. They know that you don't have to fix the fight in advance, you just have to fix the profits in advance. And that these promoters have certainly done. No matter who loses in the ring, they win at the bank. Hughes Rudd, CBS News, New York.
And that's the way it is. Friday, March 5th, 1971. This is Walter Cronkite, CBS News. Good night. You would have to be a virtual illiterate not to know that there's a big heavyweight championship fight Monday night, but few people, aside from Haywood Hale Broun, know that tonight they're holding the collegiate boxing championships. Few people know that there is collegiate boxing, and Mr. Broun had to go to Chico, California to find some of the last practitioners of a dying sport.
This knockout in a college boxing match with its falling tree finish seems at first startled glance to encapsulate all the savagery so many deplore in modern sport. Still within minutes of the poleaxing punch, the jolly strains of the banjo usher the gladiators to pizza and pitchers of beer. College boxing has the easy aftermath of truly amateur, non-scholarship sport, now rare outside the fencing team, and it's hard to imagine the big-timers jovially sharing a good time after a fight for a mythical #1-ship. These members of a boxing class at Chico State College work on the fine points which last year made the school's boxing team national collegiate champions. Year in and year out, this rural California college ranks in the top 3, a distinction made perhaps understandable by the fact that there are only 3 American college boxing teams. At the service academies and a handful of other schools, an intramural program offers the rudiments of the sweet science, as Pierce Egan used to call it, but the classes are more diligent than they are big. College boxing has 9 weight divisions, and the boxers of assorted size and skills share only determination. They even fight for the right to fight. And here Ken Hallen in the high sneakers, a former varsity 180-pounder, fights Billy Myers, shorter and heavier set, for a chance to get banged around in the Friday night matches against the other conference members, the Universities of California and Nevada at Reno. Coach Willie Simmons broods neutrally. A flow of what fight announcers used daintily to call claret enlivens the closing moments of the regulation 3 2-minute rounds, after which the squad, with a control over its own destinies which would stun the regimented ranks of college football players, votes on the outcome.
We got 2 for Hallen, 1 for Myers, and about 17 draws.
Did you say right in the heat of what just happened that you enjoyed it, that it was fun?
Yes, it is. Yeah, the whole thing is fun. Teaches a person a lot of things about life.
Would you say that it's tougher than football, Kent?
It's a different kind of a sport. I feel like I enjoy it more. I enjoy practice. I enjoy coming to practice. I enjoy the bouts.
Getting ready for a match with Cal, the Chico boxers stab the air with the nervous flash of beleaguered fireflies and watch the bandaging of their knuckles with the gloomy knowledge that other knuckles are being bandaged across the hall. Coach Simmons, who spent many a jumpy afternoon in his long amateur career, understands the mixture of high heart and hiccups.
It's not fun in a sense that you box Friday night at 8 o'clock, and from 2 o'clock on, you don't feel too good. You know, nothing tastes any good, and you're not afraid of winning, and you're not afraid of losing. You're afraid of looking bad.
Chico's boxers, victorious on this occasion by 10.5 to 1.5, outdraw the basketball team on home grounds, and 4,000 as a usual crowd, a strange mixture of the neighborhood club gang and college claques, like the obviously named Block C. In the old days at fights, the girls present led cheers for jewelry stores. At a time when football is almost as big a boon to the crutch industry as skiing, Simmons says the violence of his sport is largely symbolic.
College football is much rougher than boxing, college boxing. You're in the ring with somebody your own weight. You have no one to help you. If you get in trouble, such as an eye cut, either the referee, the doctor at ringside, or your own coach takes care of you. You get a stand-up count until they look at you. They check you over. In football, why, they can't give you that count.
The decline in college boxing began in 1959 when a fighter was killed, and accelerated the following year when the intercollegiates at Wisconsin produced a second fatality. From 150 schools taking part in college boxing, the number melted to 19 in 2 years and then to 3. Stricter eligibility rules now keep out of college boxing anyone with appreciable experience in the tough competition of the Golden Glove and other amateur rings. And Simmons has no wish to find another Chuck Davey, Billy Seuss, or Pete Rademacher, to name some collegians who went on to pro fame.
Move those hands, move them, move them! Some of my kids go out, and I know they're not going to win unless a miracle occurs. But what I'm after is that they'll hold their hands up, they'll take care of themselves, they won't be routed so badly that I have to stop it, and they get a sense in themselves of confidence. Once they get this confidence, they become a better teacher, better salesman, better anything in life.
As college sports grew increasingly more hard-bitten and the crash of combat threatened to drown out the warm sound of cheers, it was perhaps inevitable that a sport be chosen as a hostage to conscience, and boxing, longer on bloody noses than broken bones, was elected. This is Haywood Hale Broun in Chico, California.
After a long hassle with the promoters of the Muhammad Ali-Joe Frazier heavyweight championship fight, the Armed Forces Network today got clearance to broadcast the fight to U.S. servicemen stationed around the world. Tomorrow night in New York at Madison Square Garden, there will be a fight, the richest fight of all time. It has had more words written and spoken about it than any fight in history. It is, in case you just woke up from a coma, the heavyweight championship fight between the incumbent Joe Frazier and the man who lost the title in the courts, Muhammad Ali. A report now on the careers that are about to converge from Haywood Hale Broun.
It is hard to remember the laughing, light-footed, light-hearted Cassius Clay of 1960, a hero of that year's Olympics and apparently on his way to distinction and acceptance. Joe Frazier, a gold medal winner 4 years later, seemed to the observing establishment perhaps a sounder model for a boxing immortal, devoted as he was to the ideals of hard work, and showing, as he did in this fight with Chuck Leslie, a keen pleasure in that work.
Right, well, I get a kick out seeing a man crumble to his knees more than anything, you know.
Clay's laughter somewhere turned into a hard-edged clarion, and along with respect for accepted things, he also dropped his name and became Muhammad Ali.